Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
Thank you for being an awesome pledge hammer on Patreon, Adam and the Anthony Bergeron. Prince Charming! The attacker of Roman Reigns has been revealed, and it sadly wasn't Buddy Murphy. Shane McMahon brutally beats down Kevin Owens, and Chad Gable returns to TV to start a feud with Elias. And it's about being tall. Whoop-de-doo. And which WWE stars are teasing an AEW move? Click the timestamps down below to jump to any of those stories. Press the thumbs up and give us a subscribe while you're at it to help us reach our next target of 750,000 subscribers. And leave a comment down below to answer our question of the day. Which SummerSlam match are you most looking forward to? And make sure you vote in the poll above my head to let me know what you thought of the show, where you can choose from Smacknificent, Smacktastic, Smack Bang in the Middle Smackdowner, and a smack in the face. This is the 6th of August 2019 edition of SmackDown Live, the Go Home edition for SummerSlam. Also, shout out to whoever held up this sign, you absolute hero. Charlotte Flair opened the show intending to show a video package that highlighted her great career in WWE, but instead a video promoting her SummerSlam opponent Trish Stratus was played, with Trish coming out to tell Flair that she wants to beat her at Summerfest to prove to herself that she can. She quoted Harley Race and slapped Flair across the face. Rather than fight back, Charlotte walked away. This was a decent bit of build to their match at SummerSlam, which is built more on star power than it is on story. After a recap of Goldberg returning to Raw to announce he'll face Dolph Ziggler at SummerSlam, the music of Goldberg played throughout the arena. But Goldberg doesn't work Tuesdays, and it was all just Dolph doing his trolling act. He was set to have a match with Rey Mysterio, but attacked him before the bell and left him laying. Prince Ali, fast as can be, came down to save Rey. Took his place in the match, which he then lost. It's been a really odd return from injury for Prince Ali. He had those great promos hyping a return to the WWE Championship picture, then started a feud with Shinsuke Nakamura over the Intercontinental Championship, then dropped that to talk about the WWE Championship again, then picked up the Nakamura feud when he pinned him last week, and then just lost to Dolph this week in a meaningless match. At this point, Ali is swerving between lanes more than Jimmy Uso. I get that you want to put Dolph over strong ahead of his big marquee match against Goldberg, but it's a shame that it came at the expense of Ali, especially since you spent weeks and weeks and weeks building up his return. After recaps of Roman Reigns being in a Simpsons hit and run and Brock Lesnar beating up Seth Rollins and his massive bank account, Caleb Braxton had a sit-down interview with Reigns to talk about his attacker, with Roman saying he'll get answers tonight. Following a lovely video package to Harley Race, Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch's SummerSlam opponent Natalya took on SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley's SummerSlam opponent Ember Moon. This is one of those matches where you would question why WWE would book themselves into this corner. You want both of them looking strong as possible going into their respective title matches on Sunday, so you can't have one of them win, as it means the other one has to lose. So all you're left with is doing is a really duff finish, which is unsatisfactory to the fans watching. And that's exactly what happened, with Natty and Moon battling on the outside to get counted out. Bayley then ran down to make the save for Ember, who was trapped in Natalya's sharpshooter on the floor. Man, what a downhill spiral Ember Moon has found herself in for the last couple of weeks. After laying out both Bayley and Charlotte Flair on her own like an actual badass, she lost last week to Alexa Bliss for literally no reason, and was then laid out on the Go Home show before SummerSlam. What the hell happened? I really wasn't enjoying this week's SmackDown Live, I've got to be honest. So thankfully, the KO show with Shane McMahon brought me back. The two cut good promos on each other to hype their match this Sunday, with Owens trying to get Shane to put his career on the line as well. But Shane is the best in the world, and he's not daft enough to put his career on the line when he doesn't need to. This is great storytelling, and it sows the seeds that Shane could put his career on the line at some point, which is something the fans want to happen. Shane and KO then brawled, with Elias coming down to aid Shane O'Mac. Owens gave Elias the stunner on the announcer's table, but Shane tripped him and laid him out by drop-kicking a chair into his face. This was a great go-home angle for SummerSlam, and has now become one of my most anticipated matches, and I never thought I would say that about the best in the world, Shane McMahon. Sami Zayn came out to ask why Aleister Black hasn't accepted his SummerSlam challenge, and Black announced that's because the match is going to happen right now instead. And I'm a big fan of this, as adding more matches to SummerSlam at this point is unnecessary. unnecessary, even though the match would have been better on pay-per-view than on TV. And it was cool for Black to announce that it is going to happen right now. The problem was that he did it on his creaky entrance board, which made him look quite silly. To the surprise of no one, Black won with a black mass. Shelton Benjamin is back to doing his weird eye gimmick thing, and we saw New Day walking backstage wasting water. No wonder Daniel Bryan doesn't like you. Bray Wyatt cut a promo from Firefly Funhouse with Huskers eating too much chocolate and sweet, or candy for our American viewers. This was more of Bray's Mr. Rogers facade fading away under the maniacal weight of the Fiend, and it was genuinely chilling. I loved this character so much. Chad Gable was backstage doing some workout stuff and apologized to Elias for leaving his weightlifting equipment on a flight case. Elias made fun of him for being small, even though there's literally a few inches between them, and Chad did nothing about it. So not only is Chad small, he's also a chump. I am so sick and tired of WWE's played out I'm taller than you gimmick. Get better material, writers! Kofi Kingston cut a return promo on Randy Orton ahead of their WWE Championship match this Sunday, saying that while Randy likes to use his influence to keep people down, Kofi uses his to lift people up. It was really good promo work, but not the hottest go-home angle for a WWE Championship match, which has sadly been a recurring theme for Kofi's title run. It's almost as if, despite being WWE Champion, he's not the most important thing in Vince McMahon's eyes. And in the main event, New Day took on the Planeteers of Daniel Bryan and Rowan in a tag match that went through 2 commercial breaks, which would certainly back up the reports that Vince rewrote the entire show just hours before it went on air. It was all good action, but had the lame ending of Rowan hitting Xavier Woods with steel stairs for the DQ. There was no career-altering announcement tease from Bryan this week, and that might be because Roman Reigns stormed into the locker room to ask Buddy Murphy if he was the guy who's been attacking him. Rather than use this storyline to elevate Buddy Murphy into a main event position, one he could easily fill and would actually be something for him to do, Roman beat him up from pillar to post until Murphy confessed that it was Rowan who attacked him. So there you have it. As reported, Roman's attacker was Daniel Bryan and Rowan. Well, at the very least it was Rowan, but Bryan certainly didn't seem surprised when they cut back to the ring. After 2 really good weeks of Raw to build SummerSlam, it's a shame that SummerSlam is again just a damp show, especially as this is the go-home edition before SummerSlam. It just reinforces the idea that SmackDown is an afterthought, and the matches from the blue brand have way less heat than the red ones. With that said, I loved the Shane and Owens angle, Bray Wyatt continues to be ace, and the main event was fun despite its rubbish finish. So this week's SmackDown Live is a low smack bang in the middle. And now over to Chopper Pete Quinnell with the news. Hey kid, you've got to be this tall to do the news. That'll work. Congratulations. Have fun, mate.
Thanks. Cheers. It's been a pretty solid couple of weeks for WWE TV, with both Raw and SmackDown shows being at the very least watchable, which is more than we can say for most of 2019. You'd be forgiven for thinking this is due to several creative shakeups that have taken place recently in WWE, but if some reports are to be believed, it's just Vinnie Mac being Vinnie Mac some more. It feels like I'm saying this every week now, but once again reports from Ryan Satin of Pro Wrestling Sheet are stating that Vince McMahon entirely rewrote last night's episode of SmackDown, this time just 2 hours before the show went on the air. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer tweeted at 6:30 p.m. Eastern that Vince tore up the show 90 minutes ago, which means at about 5 p.m. Eastern, the show was being torn up. Then Brian Alvarez, also of the Wrestling Observer, tweeted at 5:45 p.m. Eastern last night that Vince tore the show up again, and unless he changes his mind between now and showtime, the new SmackDown main event is Bryan versus Kofi. As the main event of SmackDown last night was not Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston, it's safe to say he did in fact change his mind again. Madman. Granted, the last couple of shows have actually been pretty good, but the stress levels and frustration from the writing team have got to be reaching breaking point. Speaking of breaking points, and that's exactly what's happened to poor old Bobby Lashley, who has been missing on WWE programming for some time with a big question mark over him, as nothing had been announced regarding his absence from WWE, yet he was listed as an inactive superstar on WWE's injury list. Now it's been cleared up, as Lashley recently underwent elbow surgery, according to Ryan Satin of Pro Wrestling sheet. This will rule Lashley out until November, which means a potential return around the time of Survivor Series would not be out of the question. WrestleTalk would like to wish Bobby Lashley a speedy and healthy recovery. Speaking of recoveries, and that's exactly what's been happening with the wrestling industry lately, with pro wrestling on the cusp of breaking out into another boom period of sorts, what with competition being rife and top quality wrestling being found all over the planet. Part of that resurgence of interest is down to All Elite Wrestling, who managed to sell out tickets for their first TV taping of their weekly show on October 2nd in Washington, D.C. Now they've announced the locations for their second and third weekly TV tapings. AEW will be going to Boston, Massachusetts and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on October 9th and 16th respectively, with ticket prices and release dates to be revealed this Friday, August 9th at 5 p.m. BST or noon Eastern. With the first show selling out in a matter of hours, AEW will be hoping to replicate that success moving forward, and it will most certainly be interesting to see if these two shows maintain that level of interest and popularity. Speaking of AEW, I am genuinely killing these segues today, and it seems like there's been yet another tease from a WWE team about joining AEW. Phoenix, one half of AEW stars the Lucha Bros, tweeted recently claiming that he and tag partner Pentagon were the best tag team in the world. It seems that current WWE stars The Revival have taken umbrage with that statement, as Dash Wilder responded to the tweet by saying, "You have to make actual tags to be a tag team. Hell of a moves team though." His partner Scott Dawson would add to that saying, "Moves! Hashtag FDR, hashtag follow the rules." This of course is poking fun at the high-flying, more indie style of the Lucha Bros, emphasizing high spots over tag psychology and old-school tag wrestling like the Revival tends to do. Now that the Revival have dropped the Raw Tag Team Championships, could they be looking elsewhere again to further their tag team careers? Is a move to AEW on the cards once their contracts expire? I mean, probably, yeah. Are the WWE video game production team splitting from WWE to make an AEW game? Check out the Screenstalker video today to get the full story, and check out the clip from the episode right now. Ciao.
Where this gets really interesting is that these plans have already kind of been hinted at, like when the Young Bucks spoke over StarCast Weekend to Chris Van Vliet.
Is there any talk of making an AEW video game?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.